Hey everyone, John here, and welcome back to the Toy Box. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're having a great day and a fantastic weekend. We now have 5th generation Pokémon Center Sitting Cuties Plushes available, so we're going to start looking at these plushes. First, we have the starters. We have Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott. But that's not all. We're also going to take a look at each of their evolution lines. That's 9 plushes total. It's an event so big that we have no choice but to call it the Pokémon Unova Starter Sitting Cuties Special. Now there's a lot to look at here today, and we're going to start off with the Snivy line, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Snivy is the grass-type starter you can choose when you play Pokémon Black and White or Pokémon Black and White 2. One thing that I like to do with the starters is look at the origin of that starter Pokémon and figure out what animal they're based on, or their origin. Now, Unova is based on the United States, specifically New York, so I focused on looking at animals from that area. Snivy was a little tricky, but I do think it is based on the green snake found in North America. It is bright green with a yellow or white belly. It looks very slim compared to other snakes, and if you were to place grass-type decorations on a green snake, then you could get something looking like a Serperior, so I think we have it. Now, one thing that did trip me up was the arms and legs, because as you may or may not know, snakes don't have legs. Well, doing some quick research, it seems like some snakes evolved from lizards, so they had legs at some point in history. Now, in some snakes today, you can still see evidence of this if you look closely. In this case, we can look at Snivy's evolution line as not only going from infancy to adulthood, but from how the species looked as history progresses. Interesting stuff. Let's take a look at the plush. So first, Snivy fails the standing test. If you want to stand Snivy up, you need help from the wall or some other object. Now, that is not saying that it cannot stand on its own. I have been able to get the plush to stand on its own, but if there is a slight breeze or if you move the table around, then Snivy's going down. So it fails the test. Now, as far as firmness goes, the plush is very firm. If you take the typical sitting cutie and say that it is a medium firmness, then Snivy will be firm. And in fact, that's true for the entire line. Now, the colors and proportions look good. This is how Snivy would look in the game. I know that we haven't seen Snivy since Gen 7, but the models still look pretty good. Now, let's take a look at the details. We'll start off with the head. So first we have the eyes. They're embroidered. We have a yellow patch right here. I'll take you to the other side. We have the mouth stuck under here, so you can barely see it when you turn the plush this way. And of course, we have the nose right here. Now, moving on to the body, we have a little collar right here. You can see the lines on the chest. They are sewn in here. And we have these little leaves coming up on the other side to finish off the collar. And that goes into a yellow stripe that goes all the way down to the tail. Now, Snivy does have arms. There's no stuffing in the arms, so they're very soft. And they kind of just flap around here. They are sewn on right here at this point, so you can't move them all the way around. Snivy has very small legs, and these also are not stuffed, so they're just right here. You see from the other side. The pellets are focused right here. So yes, the pellets do kind of help the plush balance, but it's not really balancing from the top to bottom. It's more side to side, because once you stand up Snivy, you really will fall to the side. And as I say that, it falls right to the front. But you see, it's not impossible to get it to stand. But still, it's very sensitive. For the tail, we have, it goes green all the way over here. We have the yellow underside, and at the end of the tail, we have these leaves at the end, which are stuffed. And you have a little bit of yellow right here. And of course, lastly, we have the tags. So here is the tag. So Snivy, Sitting Cuties Plush. And so now that we've looked at Snivy, let's go ahead and let it evolve. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at Servine. So let's go ahead and bring Servine in here. Now, Servine is the evolved form of Snivy. Now, to me, Servine always looked like a bigger Snivy, since most of its features are either the same or very similar. And don't get me wrong, I actually think that's a very good thing. I wouldn't like it if the evolution was so drastic that you can't even tell what Pokemon it came from before. Sometimes less is more when it comes to that kind of thing. So let's take a look at the plush. So just like Snivy, unfortunately, Servine will also fail the standing test. It needs help from the wall or some other object in order to remain standing. Now again, it's not impossible to stand up Servine. I could do it right here if I tried to, but the plush will fall very easily if the table shakes or if something nudges it a little bit. So it's not like, and I will say that Servine is a bit better at standing than Snivy is. I think because Servine's slightly wider and the legs are stuffed a little bit, so you can provide some balance. But I still cannot pass it with the standing test, given that. Now for the firmness of the plush is pretty firm, just like Snivy. And the colors and proportions are really good. You can see all the details. This is how the model looks like in the games. So let's take a look at the details, starting off with the head. We have the eyes here. They are embroidered. You can see over here, it's kind of hard to see, but you see an outline. This is sewn in at the bottom, this black outline. We have the mouth, just like Snivy right here. And we have the nostrils. Mine are a little bit lopsided, but they're also embroidered. Now, I'm not sure what this is. I think these are just leaves. I don't think it's a horn or anything. I think these are just leaves. And of course, you can reverse it like this. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but here we go. So you have that. It's double layered. Now moving on to the body, we have this yellow collar coming over here. This looks like a type of felt. I believe it's either a felt or it's a double-sided, a dual-layered material. It's sewn in right here. You can see the stitches there. Servine's arms are here. I don't know if at this point they're still arms or if they're just leaves. I haven't used Servine enough to be able to know that. But it looks like it's a dual-sided material again. And you can't really move it around because it's sewn onto the body like this. The legs are stuffed this time. And there's a little nail at the end. You can see the other side. We start having patterns on the belly. So we have this one right here. This is embroidered. And then on the back, we have these leaves that come up from the spine. These look like a double-sided material also. It's not the same material as the collar. Looks like it's the same material as the arms, though. The pellets are right here at this section, right behind the legs. So it's a pretty good place. This is how Servine's able to stand a little bit better. And then we also have the tail right here, which is stuffed. And then lastly, we have the tag. So this is Servine, and these are the 3 tags. All right, and there is Servine. So we'll go ahead and sit him down. And actually, Servine has been sitting pretty easily. So I might have to upgrade that standing test. Maybe it doesn't fail the standing test. It passes the standing test, but with, I guess with prejudice. I don't know. It doesn't pass the standing test all the time, but I have been able to get it to stand more while I was filming than when I wasn't. But anyways, so this was Servine. Let's go ahead and let Servine evolve and bring in the final evolution, which is Serperior. And here we go. This is the final evolution. And it is fantastic. Now, one of my regrets in the 5th generation was that I never got around to using Serperior. Which is weird because I've always used the starters every time I've played Pokemon. Serperior is the only one that I didn't get to use. And I do regret it. It has a great ability, Contrary. So this means that moves that lower its stats will actually raise them, and vice versa. And this works really well with Leaf Storm and can be a nightmare. Anyways, now going back to our origin animal, when it comes to the green snake, I think Serperior is the representation of the green snake today, while its pre-evolutions represent how its ancestors looked in prehistoric times. Now, Serperior looks the most like the green snakes of today. It has a green body, it's bright green, has a lighter belly, and of course you need the grass type decorations. Anyways, let's take a look at the plush. So first, Serperior passes a standing test. It can stand on its own without any help from the wall or any other objects. It's good for displays. As far as the firmness goes, just like its pre-evolutions, it is very firm. So there's that. And as far as the colors and proportions, I think they did a great job with Serperior, as it looks how it would look in the game, and I think the details are great. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. So first we'll start with the head. The eyes here are embroidered. We have the mouth right here, and then we have the nostrils right here. Now, this Pokemon has a lot of patterns to it, and they look really nice. I like the way Pokemon Center did these. The light green patterns that come up here are all embroidered all the way across, so you can see it go all the way around. And I think that it is awesome. Now, here, I'm not sure if these are just leaves or if they're horns, but these are not stuffed. So we have a yellow layer and a light green layer. You can see how they look from above. There's no stuffing, so it's very soft. Now, once we start getting to the body, then we'll see this collar. Now, the collar is also dual-sided. It has yellow on this side, and it has green on the other side. I'm not sure what the material the yellow is, but these are two different materials. The green material here is softer, while the yellow one's a little rougher. Let's look at this closely. You can see how the leaf curls back. So this was done very well. And I'll show you the other side so you can see another angle of how that looks like. Looks like a little hook. Now we have the leaves here on the side. These are dual layered material. You can see the other side. Now, going further down the body, you start to see more patterns. We have this pattern coming down here, which looks kind of like a sword to me, but it extends from the collar all the way down. The edge on here is embroidered, so that is very nice. When we start moving down, turn to the other side here, you start seeing more patterns. Here's the yellow stripes that go down Serperior's back. These are also fully embroidered. And you can kind of see it on the other side right here. The light green belly goes all the way here. We have a darker bright green here. And on the tail we have these three leaves that come up. These are also the same material as the leaves on the side here. And the pellets are all within this segment right here, where you see the yellow pattern. This is where the pellets are. And I don't think it really matters that too much for Serperior, because Serperior can balance very easily because of how it's coiled up. So anyway, lastly, we have the tag. So this is the tag for Serperior. Mine was bent a little bit here. And you can see it like this. All right, so bringing them back together. These were the Pokemon Center Snivy, Servine, and Serperior Sitting Cuties Plushes. Now let's move on to our Fire-type starter line, the Tepig line. Tepig is the fire-type starter Pokemon you can choose when playing Pokemon Black and White, as well as Pokemon Black and White 2. Tepig was the starter Pokemon that I chose when I played Pokemon White, and was one of my favorites on the team throughout the whole game. Now, when looking at the origin animal, it's easy to see Tepig as a pig. I mean, it's in the name, right? The challenge for me, though, is what type of pig. So Tepig looks more like a domestic pig to me rather than a wild boar, so I took a look at the most common breeds of pig raised in the United States. The Hampshire pig stood out to me for two reasons. First, it is the fourth most recorded breed of swine in the United States, so it's common and well known. And second, its physical characteristics match more with the Tepig line than the others. Its ears are upright, and it seems to have a stripe going down its body. Now, the Hampshire pig will have the whole head black, the back legs black too, but it kind of still looks like it has the same theme like the Hampshire pig. So while this works for Tepig, it might be a little bit more of a stretch for Pignite and Emboar, but it matches Tepig pretty well. So what do you guys think? Let's take a look at the plush. So first, Tepig passes the standing test. It can stand on its own without any help from the wall or any other objects. It's good for displays. And as far as the firmness goes, it is a medium firmness, so it is about the same firmness as a typical Sitting Cuties plush. The colors and proportions look good. This is how Tepig would look in the game. Of course, not really sitting up like this, but the colors and the size of its body are about the same. There are some good details. Let's take a look closer. So first we have the eyes. They're embroidered here. You can see that on the other side too. We'll move on to the snout. You see the snout right here. The nostrils here are also embroidered as well. And we have a smile here. The smile is embroidered. Now, we also have a spot here that's yellow. And we have the ears. Now, I was expecting that the ears would droop like this, but they actually stay up pretty well, which is pretty cool. Now, moving on to the body, the pellets are going to be here on near the black part, near its backside right here. So this is what really helps Tepig balance. And we can look at the legs. Tepig has little legs with little black feet right here, and you can see the legs are stuffed right here. And then we have the back legs. You see them from the other side. And we also have a tail. The squiggly part of the tail here, it's a little hard to see, but you can definitely see there is a squiggly tail. This part is not stuffed, but the ball is stuffed very firmly, so it's a lot firmer than the rest of the plush. And then finally, we have the tags. So here is the tag for Tepig, and we have the 3 tags right here. So, now that we've looked at Tepig, it's time to evolve him and take a look at his evolved form, Pignite. So here is Pignite. Now, Pignite is the evolved form of Tepig, and it gains the fighting type. To me, its pattern looks like a wrestler wearing a singlet, so it's pretty creative. It doesn't look as much like the Hampshire pig in that respect, but it does keep the upright ears. And it does still look like a domestic pig. And it gains a wrestler persona, which I'm a wrestling fan, so that's all good to me. Let's take a look at the plush. So first, Pignite passes the standing test. It can stand on its own without any help from the wall or any other objects. Good for displays. As far as the firmness goes, it's about the same as Tepig, about a medium firmness, the same as a typical Sitting Cuties plush. The colors and proportions are done very well for Pignite, and there are a lot of details, so let's go ahead and take a closer look. So starting with the head, we have embroidered eyes. Pignite looks a little meaner here, maybe a little more aggressive. That's part of its persona as a wrestler, I guess. And here's the other side. We have the mouth right here, and then we have some embroidered teeth. So it looks like it's beginning to get some teeth here, becoming more vicious. We have a black stripe going down the middle here, and we have 2 upright ears. There is no stuffing in the ears, so they're pretty soft. Now, if we look at the body, the pellets are going to be down here right on the underside of the plush, which helps it balance. Not that Pignite needs much help with that. Its body is built to be pretty bottom heavy, so it's pretty easy to balance even without the pellets, in my opinion. We can look at its chest. We can see some of the patterns. This yellow pattern looks really nice. This is all embroidered right here. Here is the one on the other side. The singlet goes all the way up here around the plush. The only odd part is that this part of the singlet is embroidered. I know that it's probably easier to do this than to have this piece come in like that. So it just looks a little bit weird, I guess. But that's all supposed to be one piece, all pieces of singlet. You can see in the back they kind of do the same thing. The little leaves that come up here are embroidered. It's different from the rest of the singlet part. Now moving on to the arms. The arms are a little different. So we have, it's not really the same orange material here. It's still a little bit fuzzier, but it is colored in. You can see the differences here when I'm rubbing against it. So we have orange, yellow, and black. And then the claws at the end look like they are a type of felt or a dual. I think it's a type of felt. Here is the other arm so you guys can see. And moving on to the legs. So the legs are the same material as the rest of the plush here. And we have a white claw at the end. So there we go. And then we have the tail. So again, the squiggly part of the tail is not stuffed, while the ball at the end is. And lastly, we have the tags. So here is the tag for Pignite. And here are the 3 tags. All right, so anyways, that was Pignite. So let's let Pignite evolve so that we can take a look at its final evolution, Emboar. So, Emboar is the final evolution of the Tepig line. I had a lot of fun battling with Emboar. He was a staple on my black and white team, and I used him pretty heavily when I participated in the online competitions. I think that Emboar moves away from the physical build of the Hampshire Pig a lot and more into the sumo wrestler territory. Now, this stripe across its belly here looks a lot like the uniform, and it still has the upright ears, so I will still maintain that it looks like the Hampshire Pig. But I think it might look more like it's getting into the wild boar territory just because of the size of its teeth over here. But anyways, let's take a look at the plush. So first, Emboar passes the standing test. It does not need help from the wall or any other objects in order to stand on its own. It's good for displays. And like the others, it has a medium firmness, so it's like the typical Sitting Cuties plush. Now, the colors and proportions are great. It looks exactly how it would look in the game. We have the big arms, all these colors, the flames. It looks good. Let's take a closer look at those details. So starting at the head, we have embroidered eyes here. We have the snout, and the nostrils here are embroidered also. We have the mouth going over here. It is smiling, and we have larger tusks. Now, this looks like the tusks are made of a type of felt, and they are attached pretty securely to the face. Now, looking at the ears, the ears are very soft, and it looks like it's dual layered material, and I think it's the same material as the rest of the plush here, like the material used for the head. So it's very soft and flexible. Now, the flames are a little bit different. These are more stiff. These flames look like they are made of 2 different materials. It looks like the top here is made of the same material as the rest of the plush, while the bottom here is colored in. So it has a different feel, and they're layered together here to form the collar. So you can see the other side here. You can kind of see how it's colored, and then the rest of it has a different texture. We have this down here also. They kind of reverse it here on the bottom. This is the more fuzzy areas on the bottom here, while the colored area is on the top. So if you look at it, it's kind of matte. It kind of continues the patterns here. So that's the collar. So moving on to the body, the pellets are all in the lower body right here near its backside. There aren't too many. But I don't think Emboar really needs them anyway, because the way it's built, it can probably balance on its own without the pellets. We have the stripe. This is made of the same material. This looks like it's made of the same material as this colored part of the flame. It looks like this is colored in the pattern here as well as the black. And it goes all the way around the plush. Now we have little some fur popping out from underneath the belt. This looks like it is the same material as the rest of the plush, just dual layered. So it's 2 layers of this stuck together. And we have puffs coming out here, here, right here on the sides, and then right here on the other side right here. Now the arms are pretty cool. They are made of, it looks like it's made of a different material. I think it's the same, it looks like it's the same material as the flames part right here. And so this is all colored in. We have orange, then yellow, and then black with a red stripe. And then the claws are all separate pieces. So this looks pretty cool. I like the way that they did it. The claws don't split apart. They are sewn together here at the edge of the hand, so they don't come apart. And it's the same thing with the other arm, so you can see it. And you can see it looks like they kind of sewed it in a way it looks like it's curled together. And then at the end of on the elbows, we also have these puffs coming out. And they're the same material as the puffs that I showed you earlier. Now, moving on to the legs are pretty short. They're also made of the same material as with the arms. And we have red here with some yellow and then the black. The bottom of the foot is made of the same material as this part of the plush. And this. And then, of course, we have the claws on the bottom here. These are made of the same material as the tusks. And they're pretty stiff. And then finally on the bottom here, we have the red part. The red part here is made of the same material as the orange part up here. It's not colored in. And then we have the tail. There's no squiggly part this time, but this is not stuffed. So it's pretty flexible. It just bends wherever it goes. And the tip of the tail is stuffed. And lastly, we have the tags. So here is the first tag. And here are the 3 tags here. All right, so we've looked at the Pokemon Center Tepig, Pignite, and Emboar Sitting Cuties Plushes. And next, we are going to look at our water starter, the Oshawott line. Lastly, we have the Oshawott line. Oshawott is the water-type starter Pokemon you can choose if you are playing Pokemon Black and White, as well as Pokemon Black and White 2. Additionally, Oshawott is the water-type starter in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I chose Oshawott when I played through Pokemon White 2, and I used him throughout the entire game. Now, for Oshawott's origin animal, I had to choose between the sea otter and the river otter, both of which are found in North America. I ended up going with the sea otter for 2 reasons. First, sea otters grow larger than river otters, so this made more sense to me given that Samurott is bigger. Second, sea otters have shorter, flattened tails, while river otters have longer and skinnier tails. The Oshawott line's tails look short and flat to me, so I guess it was a sea otter. Let's take a look at the plush. So first, Oshawott passes the standing test. It can stand on its own without any help from the wall or any other objects. It's good for displays. Now for the firmness, Oshawott is a medium firmness. It's about the same as a typical Sitting Cuties plush. And the colors and proportions are good. This is how Oshawott would look in the game. Now for the details, I couldn't wait to go over this one with you guys because I have to say that Oshawott is my favorite of the plushes. So starting with the head. We have embroidered eyes. Here's the other eye. I like the nose, it's very cute. You can see it puffs out here. And then we have the mouth, which is also embroidered. We have freckles that are embroidered. We have little ears that poke out like this. You see it from all the angles. We have a little collar coming up that's blue. It goes all the way around Oshawott's neck. And my favorite part is I like that they actually have a whole separate plush, I guess, for the Scalchops. It doesn't come off, but it is 3D. It looks really nice. So this is why the Oshawott is my favorite. As far as the body goes, the pellets are right here near the bottom. Sometimes Oshawott tends to get rounded out on the bottom, so you have to flatten them a little bit if you have trouble standing them up. The arms are short and white, and they are stuffed. Same thing with the other arm. And the legs are also short and stuffed. And if you look closely, you can see the toe sewn in here. And we can look at the tail. The tail is very soft. It's also stuffed. You can see it from the sides. And then lastly, we have the tag. So here is Oshawott. And here are the 3 tags. So, now that we've seen Oshawott, it's time to take a look at its evolved form, Dewott. So here's Dewott. Now, Dewott is the evolved form of Oshawott. It seems to me that Dewott looks like an older Oshawott. I would probably argue that Dewott is the adult Oshawott. It has 2 Scalchops, one on each side. Its qualities make me think of the Oshawott line as a life cycle for not only the sea otter, but also the samurai. Oshawott is like a kid who is just starting to learn. Dewott has become an adult and is now a warrior wielding 2 Scalchops. And Samurott is the older experienced warrior who has the title of a samurai. Anyways, let's take a look at the plush. So first, Dewott passes a standing test. It can stand on its own without any help from the wall or any other objects. It's good for displays. And as far as the firmness goes, Dewott is very firm. I think it's because of the wrapping outside here that makes it extremely firm. The colors and proportions look great. This is how it would look in the game. And let's take a closer look at the details. So first, we have embroidered eyes right here. Dewott's a little more serious, so we have eyebrows here. Makes it look a little meaner. We have a nose here. This nose is just like Oshawott's. It's a little smaller, but it's also a separate piece. And then we have the mouth right here, which is also embroidered. And it looks like Oshawott has traded its whiskers in for, or its freckles in for whiskers. Now, these whiskers look like they are made of a type of felt. I think it's dual layered, and they're sewn in right at this point right here on the cheek. And here's the other one. You can see it from the other side. It's firmly, the whiskers are firmly here, but I do get nervous. I think they probably could get pulled off if I pull hard enough, which I'm not going to do, but just something to look out for. We have the ears right here, which are pointy, and they're stuffed. And then lastly, up here, we have the hairstyle. So this is how Dewott's hairstyle. And now moving on to the body. So again, my favorite part is I like the Scalchops. I like that they are fully stuffed. They seem like their own pieces and they're sewn onto the Pokemon, which makes it look really nice. We have the wrapping here. This wrapping looks like it is, it looks to me like it's made of 2 types of material. The outer material here seems to be the same as the rest of the plush, but I'm not sure what this is. I think this is a type of felt that's dual layered on, that's attached to this one. I think that's what it is, but I'm honestly not sure. It's very thick and rigid. That's probably why the plush feels very firm. That wrapping goes all the way around. Now looking at the arms. So the arms are the same material as the rest of the plush. The ends of the arms are colored here, so you can kind of see that through the sides where the stitches are. That the black part here is colored in, and then the claws are, I think they're double layered felt at the end, so they're pretty stiff. It's not the same material as the whiskers, but it's a little tougher than those. Here's the other arm, so you guys can see. And now moving on to the legs. So the legs are sealed off right here, so they're very it's very flexible because there's no stuffing in between the joints here. And the stuffing is really only in the feet right here. So you can take a look. There are toes that are sewn in. You can see the lines right there. Here's the other one. And that's how it looks. You can see it from the side, so you can see how they fold in and out pretty easily. It's mostly because it's supposed to be a Sitting Cuties plush, so that's why it's like that. And then in the back, finally, we have a tail. We have a tail right there. It is not stuffed, so this one, it kind of feels like some of those plushes where the wings will have two layers like this, but when you press them, it feels like you're pressing air, so it's very soft. That's kind of how this feels. The pellets are near the bottom. It's hard to feel them because I think there are a lot more pellets in Dewott than in the other plushes. So it feels like this whole area here is filled with the pellets. And then lastly, we have the tag. So here is the first tag for Dewott. And here are the little tags. All right. So now that we've seen Dewott, it's time for the final evolution, Samurott. Now, if we were looking at the life cycle of a samurai, then the Samurott would be at the stage where the samurai has the title that makes them a leader and gives them that status. Samurott has also outgrown the Scalchops and is now using scimitars. This does not seem like a natural evolution to me. Now, it makes me think of Blaziken a little bit. Now, what do I mean by that? If you remember during the Pokemon Hoenn Starter Special, we talked about Combusken evolving into Blaziken when that Combusken reaches the top of the hierarchy in society, in which in Combusken's case is with a chicken coop. Now, what this means is that Combusken is already an adult at that stage, and when it evolves into a Blaziken, it needs to reach the top of the hierarchy, meaning that it needs to be the strongest Combusken in that group. And once it's the strongest Combusken, it would evolve into the Blaziken, which would be like the alpha. So what this means is that every Torchic would evolve into a Combusken, but not every Combusken would evolve into a Blaziken. I think it is the same case here for the Oshawott line. I believe that Oshawott is the baby, and every Oshawott will evolve into a Dewott, but not every Dewott is going to evolve into a Samurott. And it's the same case here. Not every warrior will become a samurai, so only a few will get to have that title and that status in society. So I think that is the same case here. I think Dewott is the adult and Samurott is an evolution that only comes around when it's the strongest. Anyways, let's take a look at the plush. So first, Samurott passes a standing test. It passes it pretty easily. It can stand on its own without any help from the wall or any other objects. It's good for displays. Samurott has a medium firmness, so it's like the typical Sitting Cuties plush. And the colors and proportions are very nice. This is how it would look in the game. Now let's take a look at the details. So first we have the eyes here. These are embroidered. We have the nose. It looks like it's a piece of dual layered felt that is sewn on right here. And then we have the mouth that is sewn on here. We have a little beard down here. So this is how it says Samurott is an older, experienced warrior. It has a beard right here. It has whiskers that come out all the way over here. These look like they are double-layered felt, I believe. and they're sewn in at these points right here. So they don't come off, and you can't really move them around. Here's the other side so you guys can see. Now the shell helmet up here is pretty cool. This is actually the softest part of the plush, even though it's supposed to be the shell. This part is all stuffed, so it's pretty soft. We have these spikes that are sticking out here. These are pretty tough, and it looks like they are dual layered material. The outer material looks like it is the same, at least the fuzziness is the same as the rest of the plush, while there is something in the middle that makes it stiff. And you can see that is the same for this spike, and as well as this one. Because this spike is longer, it's a little more flexible than these shorter ones, but it is the same material there. Now moving on to the body, most of the pellets will be down the lower area near the back legs. We have the belly right here that's just lighter blue. The rest of the plush is darker. Moving on to the arms and legs, there is a lot of detail here. So the legs are all stuffed. We have felt claws right here that are black. You can see it from this angle. And then we have the shell, the scimitars. So it looks cool. It looks like they actually are, it looks like the blades are actually tucked in here. I can't tell if they are. I think they are because you can kind of pull the sheaths down a little bit, and you can see that this is a piece that's in here. Now, the scimitars are sewn in, so you can't take them out. But it looks like the sheets here are the same material as the rest of the plush, while the scimitars are the same material as the horns up here, the spikes. So that's one. You can see the same one on the other, the same thing on the other side. And then on the back legs, it's basically the same. We have the back legs are all stuffed. We have some claws at the end. We have 2 claws instead of 3. And then we have sheaths back here too, but there's no blade. It's just the sheaths. And the edges here are embroidered. So you can see the embroidery going all around. And you can see lines here where these are stitched. And here's the other side so you guys can see. Now moving on to the tail. So the tail is pretty cool. It's flat. There isn't really any stuffing in here. So it kind of has the same feel as Dewott's tail. Now there's some differences. There is an embroidered part for this light blue part right here. This is embroidered, and it goes all the way to the other side as well. And we have a spike right here in the middle. So it's just like it's the same material as these spikes on the helmet. And it's right here in the tail as well. So lastly, we have the tags. So here is the first tag for Samurott. And here are the other tags. And there we go. So there we have it. Those were the Pokémon Center Oshawott, Dewott, and Samurott Sitting Cuties Plushes. And we're going to go ahead and bring them all back together. Alright, it looks like we have reached the end of the Pokémon Unova Starter Sitting Cuties Special. So what do you guys think of all these plushes? Which of these is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in any of these Pokemon, I'll put links to Pokémon Center in the description. At the time of filming, the base forms are going for $11.99 each, while the middle and final evolutions are going for $14.99. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys this week. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, rate, subscribe, and don't stop playing.